Ooh, that looks delicious. I just I had like the 5 minutes beforehand. I was like, ooh, I didn't meditate yet today. I'll go meditate for a couple minutes.
Oh, good.
Like one of the things that was suggested today was like a 3 minute breathing one. I was like, perfect.
Nice. Well, let's start and we can talk about it.
Yeah. So did we do intros the last two times or we just kind of get into it?
We just kind of like say what it's like all right, we're back talking about meditation with Jessica today.
I don't think we even did that, but sure. Um,
How we started each time.
yeah, so according to the app that I'm using, it's because I think I just talked to my therapist about it last Wednesday and started that day. But according to my app, oh, no, it doesn't show me. Oh, 85 minutes of meditation time since last
Mhm.
Wednesday.
That's
14,
amazing.
it says 9 days, which that's not true. But I don't know how they calculated that exactly.
So,
Um,
what is the 85 hours even real?
I think that is
Yeah, that's
because like
that's
seven, what is that? 85 divided by seven.
85 minutes or 85 hours.
85 minutes.
Okay, okay, okay.
That's 12 minutes a day. That sounds about right.
Mhm.
Average. Um, yeah, so I'm trying to like every time I do it, and then of course I also think I'm like, is that anxiety feeling getting better? And it's only been a week, but and it's really hard because it's sporadic to start. Like
Mhm.
it's not like there was like a, rhythm to when that feeling came on or a reason that I could
Mhm.
tell. But I feel like it's less. It's funny because even as I was doing like the 3 minute breath work one just now, it happened during it.
Hmm.
And yet I felt like my mind was the most clear during a meditation it's been.
Mhm.
So that was interesting. But I mean, I'm excited to see how it continues to go. I even just this morning I was texting with um one of our coworkers and she's been having a rough week. And I was like, hey, we all have those weeks. Like the other week I had a really rough week and then this week I'm in a great place mindset wise. So that's okay. And I'm like, wow, like I really am like I've noticed I'm really in a much better calmer, like even just now that like the heartbeat thing is happening, but like I'm in a much calmer mindset.
Mhm.
So we'll see how that continues.
I feel like too like how you were saying how it was happening when you were your most meditative at a point. I'm not 100% sure on this, and obviously I'm not a psychologist or a doctor or anything, but I have just from my own experience, I feel like sometimes that happens as we're like releasing trauma.
Mm.
So in this meditative calm state, your body is finally able to like let go of stuff that it's been like clenching onto. So
Oh yeah. Yeah, that whole the clenching thing is so true. Like even this 3 minute meditation, which is probably the shortest one I've done yet, she was like, okay, and I've heard this a million times, relax your jaw, let your shoulders drop, even though you already feel like you're relaxing, you're like, oh
mhm.
shoot, my jaw can go more lax, my shoulders can go more lax. And it's crazy just like that let go. And I almost wanted to like text my best friend in the moment and be like, quick reminder, relax your jaw and shoulders. Like, love you. Um, just it's crazy how much we just hold in and carry up and in all the time and what that's got to be doing to us at all
And as moms too, I mean, like we
times.
just I feel like it's just such a different thing. Like your brain doesn't shut off motherhood. Like you are now thinking about two children for the rest of your life. Like you
Yep.
will not think about them ever, ever. And that
Correct.
like that just holds something. Like it holds a tenseness in your body that is, I mean, it's beautiful and it's love and it's like so many wonderful things, but there is this like concern over these tiny little humans that are going to be
Mhm.
big humans. And even when they're big humans, you're still going to care,
I
which
feel like
is,
it's worse when they're not there in front of you because
yeah.
then you don't know what to be worried about.
I saw this reel. I don't know if you, I don't remember who the girl is, but she's like a, a mom influencer. She's pretty popular. Um, and I guess she had said, I didn't see the reel where she said this. I just saw the reel where she got like the shirts that said it. But she said she was like sharing online that flamingos, when they become moms, new mom flamingos lose their pink because they're giving so much to the kid. What?
I said because they're giving so much.
Yeah. I mean, and they have their pink because they've like, eaten all the shrimp and stuff. And so when they first have a baby, they lose their pink because they're giving and giving and giving to their kids so much that their pink starts to go away. But the beautiful thing is they always get it back.
Mhm. Well, that's just like, they say when you have a girl, when you're pregnant with a girl, like they steal your beauty, like they take it all. Or like postpartum, like I'm starting to go through the postpartum hair loss. Like where I'm washing my hair, I'm just like, oh my gosh, how do I have hair left?
Yeah.
So probably a similar idea.
Well, I think it's not just like physical, but you know,
Yeah.
all of it, emotional, mental, spiritually, like all like you put so much time and energy into these little tiny guys and girls that it's, oh man, it's just hard. It's hard, but like, she said that they always get their pink back, and then she made sweaters and hats and stuff that says get your pink back, and
Yeah.
they're really cute. And she also said that in making these sweat, like, because people were like, oh my gosh, like tell it, like we want more of that, like that kind of conversation.
Mhm.
And that's what inspired her to make it. And like she was recording, like opening the box, and she just starts crying. She's like, in making this for you, I got my pink back. And it was
Aw.
I'm crying. I mean, you can't stop crying when you want.
So that kind of touches on something that I feel like is a theme. And I was thinking about today. I was like, this would be interesting on the podcast. Like I was talking about, I'm kind of lost lately. And
Mhm.
you kind of had not the same, but some similar stuff. And then one of my other friends I was talking to on the phone, and I feel like she's been feeling that way and thinking that way for like quite a few years. And like we all need our pink back, but how do we find it? How do we get it? And I almost wanted to then, I was like, maybe is it our generation or is it the age? Or like what is it that's happening that we all have this like sense of like just being lost and passionless and not knowing which direction to go to, or is, like she literally said to me, she's like, I hope this isn't it, but like maybe this is just life. Like this is what being an adult is. I was like, no, it's like not though. Like I know how that feels, but it's not. And
It's It's so funny that you bring that up, because my thought, like, I was like, well, I know what I'm talking on the podcast today. If Jess says, how are you feeling? It's going to be very easy to
yeah.
answer, because I have been just, I do. Okay. So part of it is our age. I definitely think that, but I've just become like, this week, especially, has just been shining a light on how much COVID has affected all of us still.
Mhm.
Because, okay, so first of all, like, a lot of us had like young kids in a pandemic, which
Mhm.
causes anxiety. Like, I have so many friends. I could like probably like list on two hands at least how many
Yeah.
people had first child in and around, like, moments before COVID started, or in this, like, the heart of it. And like, how much anxiety your first kid brings you, like, you're worried about all this stuff. Can you imagine
Mhm.
have
Yeah.
all of that anxiety coupled with all of the anxiety of COVID? I had
Yeah.
a friend that my son fell on the ground, and she was about to have a conniption because of the germs that were getting on his hands, because he wasn't getting up soon enough. And
Mhm.
like I could see her. She was like, "You got to get up. You got to get up, Gray." And I'm like, He's gonna be okay. We can wash his hands, And it just like,
There are children who have licked public toilet seats.
ew,
Okay.
ew. I don't want to even think about that.
I know. I can't even. Oh,
It is
I heard
helpful.
that
It's
story. I wasn't a mom yet and I cringed so hard.
so gross. So gross. But it's true. Like, I mean, they're not, a little bit of germs are not going to kill them if they, if they're healthy kids. And so it's just, like I've seen that. And then coming into, we're coming up to Thanksgiving, and our families used to have these like big huge get-togethers, and there's discussion of like, well, do we want a big get together, should we just keep it small? And
Is
like
it
that wasn't
time yet?
conversation. And well, it wasn't even for COVID. It was just like the anxiety of too much people. Like, you
Oh,
know, one of our family members is healing from like radiation, which, she definitely needs healing. But I think like part of it is healing. And part of it is that like we're not used to being in big groups yet. So it's like, oh, we don't want to put anything on her, because like we can't even handle, and when we're healthy, big groups are still overwhelming and stuff. And I don't know, my heart just hurts. I feel like we are, even though things are back to normal now for the most part, like it's still, there's still, you know the scar is still there, and the scar tissue needs to get worked through. And I think that has a lot to do with it. I mean, we spent 2 years in isolation, bouncing right back to it. We're not the same people. I'm not the same person. I was talking with another friend about how like we just don't have the energy we used to, or the desire to go out. Is that motherhood? Probably a little bit. But is it post COVID pandemic? Probably a little bit too. So
well, see,
it just makes
I don't have as much of that because where I've lived and who I've been around wasn't quite as concerned about it
yeah,
all. So
yeah.
it's different for me. But like going through the year or two of it, even people who were like, whatever, COVID's nothing, probably still felt the effects of like the global anxiety, whether you like realize it or not. It
Yeah.
still had some sort of, energy effect, I'm sure, or vibe effect.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, it's just friggin' weird. But I even want to, like, I thought about my dad too. I was like, what was my dad doing at 36? And I was like, oh no, he wasn't going through a divorce. He had a 3 and a 7-year-old. So like, I think they were buying like the house that they shouldn't have bought at the time. But I wonder, like, did he feel lost? Like, did he feel the same thing? Is it the age? Or is our generation so lost because like we were almost given so much, like, I feel like our generation was pretty helicoptered in a sense, or even in the sense of like, I want to say spoiled, but not spoiled. Like we were just like, here, all the things and so much stuff. And like we went through such a big change from outside is normal and playing to video games and internet and all of that too. So like so much was thrown at us
Mm-hmm.
while we were growing up. So like I wonder if that affects us in our feeling lostness.
I'm sure. Oh my gosh. Speaking of feeling lost, you know the song Hello by Adele, or I don't know what's actually
Yeah.
called Hello. Do you know who she's
What's
singing that?
who?
It sounds like she's singing it to an ex. I've listened to it for however many years thinking
Singing to
she's singing,
herself?
she's singing it to her 15-year-old self. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that, knowing that thought, and try not to cry. I dare you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
It's funny. So speaking of like past selves, I still remember this was like sometime in the past 2.5 years because I was living up here. And I don't know if it was before you and were constantly talking about meditation though. And I remember there was one moment, and I don't think I was even anxious or anything, but I was like, I just want to like, I like felt the need to just go sit and try to like meditate, not with a guided meditation. And I remember sitting on the couch. I was in the house by myself, besides dogs or whatever. And I just
yeah.
sat and I remember whatever happened, like it was a very happy meditation because it was like I could see my like 3-year-old self, and I was like hugging her and like look, because I was in like a really good positive place, I think, in life at the moment. And I was like, look at this. And it's just like it was so cool. But yeah, like thinking about our past self, and I see that meme all the time of like what, like kind of like making your past self proud, like your younger self proud, or look at what we did, like we accomplished what we wanted to accomplish, or like don't talk, like when you talk bad about yourself in the mirror or whatever you're doing, like you're also talking about that cute little 7-year-old girl that you were like, I don't know.
Mhm.
It's an interesting, it's a whole interesting thing to go down. But I need to listen to that song now again.
Well, it was really interesting because,
I could
I
have
mean,
sworn
she
that that
wrote
was
that.
someone else's song, but I guess not. No, someone else. I
No,
can't think of his name, but he has a song "Hello" too, and I think that they like somebody mashed it up one time.
probably. I'm sure that happened. Um, well, she wrote that album when she was going through a divorce, so it's like a very emotional album. Um, but and I think it was in the middle of the pandemic too. I believe I'm not 100% sure, but
No, that was
um,
before the pandemic.
was it?
That song, that was a long time ago.
Maybe, maybe it was. I don't know. Maybe it was 2019. It wasn't. I feel like what. Either way, doesn't matter. Point is, she wrote it to her younger self, and it's sad. Like she's like kind of ashamed of who she's become, which is like I don't know. Listening to it, it was like cathartic and a little bit of like a push, like because I there's part of me that is like like my 16-year-old dreams have not come to fruition fully, and it's only me that has ever held me back. Like it's not, like pursuing acting. I lived in LA to pursue acting and I sat around and didn't do it. And like that I can beat myself up over. Or like some of the other things that I've been like, I've let fear stand in my way. I can definitely apologize to my younger self for that. But everything else I'm really proud of. Like I feel like my 16-year-old self knew that she was going to change the narrative, and like our family has been full of divorce and like toxic abuse and just terrible things, and I was like, heck no, I'm changing that narrative. And I did, and now I have like I worked really really hard, um and I often downplay it, and people remind me like it's okay, like you worked for this. I worked to to rewrite the narrative of my family, and I did, and I have what I've created, and I'm really proud of it. So yeah, I don't know. It's
I'm
like
trying to think like my younger self, like, yeah, I was like, oh, it'd be cool to be an actress and on Broadway and all that. And it'd still be cool, but I don't know. Like, I freaking love theater, but I don't know if that's necessarily the route that I would go now or like passion. But like, I definitely do. I love helping people, speaking in front of people, all of that. But like my younger self, and this is probably such a two thing. Like I never want to like lean on the Enneagram stuff, but it feels like such a two thing. My younger self's dream, it wasn't necessarily like, oh, white picket fence and family, but like to have like my person. And like I at the
mm,
same time always thought it would never happen. So I've
mm,
continually proven myself correct in
mm,
ways. And I know that I have my hand in things and like I've almost like self-sabotaged in a sense, not on purpose, I'm not like beating myself up about it. But going through all that, I always say I never have regrets because no matter like I have Emmeline and I have Theo now, and like I literally couldn't imagine things without them. Like even like Theo, it's like after my divorce, I thought, I wanted more kids, but I couldn't imagine how that would happen. And I was like really sad. I was like, it's probably never going to happen. And then I like came over time, came to the realization like, it's okay if it doesn't happen. It would be wonderful. It did. Like, who knows? Like, you're not that old. It's okay. And then it did
mm,
happen. And it's just like, I look at him, like, he just feels so right. Like, how could I be so silly to think that you would never exist? And again, like
yeah.
I don't put my worth or my like describe myself who I am in my kids, but like they are my little best friends in life. And I've changed the narrative for my family, which I'm really proud of, where I have great relationships with my kids and always will. Like we're going to remain close because I refuse to continue that generational crap that
Mm,
happened. That's BS.
yeah.
So I have all that going for me. Still chasing the like I do just have that entrepreneurial spirit, which is so weird because younger me, even though it was always there in little ways, I always thought, oh, but I'm shy and like I can't do things alone, or like I wasn't independent when I was younger. And then life kind of forced me to be independent, which was wonderful. And I'm proud of that too.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's like part of life though, right? Like we break some of the things that we promised. I feel like the vows, like we've made vows to ourselves that like your vow was that you wouldn't let the broken relationship among like parents and children continue. And my vow was that I wouldn't let the broken relationship among like husband and wife continue. And we both have
Mhm.
broke that because we're like,
Mhm.
no, heck
Which is like
no. And
a
now,
freaking huge deal
mm-hmm.
to
And
break.
hopefully because we broke that aspect, like our kids can go on to break the next aspect,
Mhm.
like whatever. Like for me, obviously it's fear holding me back from doing big things.
Mhm.
And that's funny too, because it's, well, I don't know, like the desire to do big things runs in my family. Like
Mhm.
I think I've mentioned here before how I had like some great great grandmother who left her kids to go to Hollywood to become an
Right.
actress, which is like not the right thing to do. But like I hope that, like I tried it in Hollywood. My great 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 Aunt Esther or whatever she is, I don't know. She, tried it, but we both did it the wrong way. And maybe our kids, not that I want my kids to be actors, but like whatever they put their minds to, like
Mhm. Yeah.
I hope they make it in their own way.
Yeah. Hmm.
Collective sigh.
I know.
uh, but yeah, I don't know, to get back to like why we're lost. I don't know, but I just hope and pray that it's like whenever there's trauma, you have to go through it and deal with it, right? Like you can't just get over trauma instantly. And at the end of the day, COVID was trauma, whether you believe it was real or not. You were affected by, like, even if for the people that didn't wear masks and whatever, they're affected by their frustration of like being
Yeah,
limited.
people were.
Yeah. And like all the fighting, like whether, no matter where you lived, everybody was fighting about COVID, and that became a thing. If you're in the States, oh my gosh, we fought about so much more than just COVID. Like it just was
Mhm.
hard. It was a hard time. And I'm hoping that, like, we just got to do our healing. And I think like the biggest thing is that, which is like one of the hardest things to watch when it doesn't happen. The biggest thing is that we have to take care of ourselves, and we have to work like what you and I are doing right now. We are actively working on bettering this emptiness or this feeling of lostness, and or like I don't know, whatever. We're lost and we're seeking to find the answers. But the worst thing you can do is to just
Even.
cover and perpetuate it, like and that's really hard to watch. The friends that don't try to fix it, which
Yeah.
in that case, you just got to be loving and supportive
Hmm.
as best you can, which is what all we can do.
Hmm.
So, but I don't know. I had a good note. I was like, but there's a good note to end on. But now I forgot it.
Well, and I think there's always a good note in all of it is like not to get all spiritual or woo woo or anything like that, but like we're here, we're alive, we're breathing.
Mhm.
If you're having if if being worried about being lost and not being passionate about what you're doing is your biggest problem,
Mhm.
I think you're doing pretty good. And if
Yeah.
you, not to minimize it, obviously, because it sucks going through it, but if you're aware of it, you can say, okay, this sucks right now. Like, I don't like this feeling. I'm going to do something about it. I know that it's not forever because I'm going to do something about it. And like, I'll figure this out. Like, I
Mhm.
go to therapy. I'm now meditating. My therapist, we were kind of talking about what it is that would make me feel passionate about like every, as much as possible. We went
Mhm.
down the list of like things that I really love to do and like, purpose or whatever. And he actually, I think he brought up like another client of his. He's like, yeah, one of my clients really needs a life coach, not a therapist. And I keep telling him that. He's like, I almost want to like refer him to you because I know that you're so good with that stuff. I was like, funny enough, like I actually like want to be a life coach. He's like,
Mhm.
why aren't you? I
Yeah.
was like, uh, I was like, well, I know that this is an excuse, but I just haven't taken the time or figured out the money to do it. And
Mhm.
I was like, and I am scared. Like, I know I'm letting fear hold me back, really, is the real reason of like, how am I going to be successful in it? And then he's like, why would you not be successful? Like, you're really good at it. You've got this, that, the other going, blah, blah, blah. Like, give me a list. And I was like, you're right. So, like,
Well,
as long as you're going and seeking out those little things and doing what you can to stop getting in your own way, even
mhm.
if you don't have an idea like being a life coach or whatever it is for you that would
Right.
actually make you feel good, like you will find it on your path if you're taking those steps, I think.
And like, well, to speak to your like reasons for not being a life coach, like you said, you don't have one of them was like you don't have the money for it. I feel like to go off of Marie Forleo, she says everything is figure outable.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, like, there's like all this cheap ish resources. I mean, Google, everything is, you can Google so many things to like get started wherever you want to go. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I was saying like time, like, because I didn't do it while I was on maternity, like going through being pregnant and on maternity leave because money felt a little tighter. Now I'm like, okay, I know I could do it. I know I can figure it out. And then I said to him, I was like, the real reason is fear of not being successful at it.
yeah. And so I feel like too, like if there's anything that you want to do, this is like just been the way I've been operating this year. And it feels so strange, but also very helpful, is like you just like take the steps. You just like do one step at a time and don't think about it. It's just like, like if you want to get ready for the day, you have to brush your teeth, you have to brush your hair, you have to get out of your pajamas, you have to put new pajamas on, you have to put your shoes on, and you have to walk
New
out the door.
pajamas on.
What?
New pajamas on.
Did I say new pajamas on?
You did. Such a mom. Yeah, I mean it's funny because I was just having that thought the other day because I don't know if I spoke about it on here or not or with you even or not, but going into a second C-section and it being planned this time, so like I know what happens and I knew that I'd be much more aware.
Mhm.
I was very nervous, of course,
Yeah.
because it's major, but I literally just was I luckily I have done the work where I was like, okay, you just now we go to the hospital. That's the next step. Now you sit here and wait. Now they do this, like whatever the next step is. When it came time for like the prick in the back, that was like terrifying too. I'm like, this is just the next thing. You just keep doing like you just do the next thing. And then
Yeah.
the baby's here, which is great. So and then
That's
I'm
so
having thought with myself, like, why am I not able to do that right now with whatever this anxiety that keeps bubbling up is? Like I'm so good at just doing the next step, but it's
can you
because
imagine?
I'm lost and don't know exactly what the next step is. I don't know.
It's not that, because if you had to, like, imagine if, like, okay, for you, imagine becoming a life coach was a baby. It's
Mm-hmm.
whether
Oh,
you're
it
ready.
is.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
can you imagine on the other side, if we all, like, if babies didn't have to come out, how many moms just keep them in because it's so freaking scary? I mean, like, birthing a child is the scariest thing, and every mom, I'm pretty sure, goes, "Oh my gosh, I don't like
Yeah.
I don't
Oh
want
yeah.
to do." But we
Uh-huh.
don't have a choice. Our body's going to force that baby out
Yeah.
of us.
Yeah. It's coming out no
If,
matter what.
if we could just make our
That's funny. I
goals
like that
and our dreams like
comparison.
baby, like it's coming no matter what. So you better just take the steps,
Just
do
do
the
it.
things
Yeah.
one at a time. Don't overthink it. Just like pack your bags for the hospital, get in the car, go. Take off
That
your
might be
pajamas.
one of my favorite like analogies or stories or anything that we've come up with on this podcast ever.
What?
Whatever that might be one of my favorite things we've ever come up with on this podcast is whatever it is, whatever your dream is, your passion is, it's your baby. It's coming no matter what.
Yeah, it's
Like
coming.
the warmer's over there where it's gonna be.
You can't keep it in you
Figure it
forever.
out.
You cannot. It's gonna come out. It's gonna pop out of you whether you like it or not.
Yeah, I like that.
And this day and age, we have modern technology to make it
I'm
come
gonna
out
use that.
here.
I'm
Then
gonna
you're like,
use that when I'm a life coach.
yes, feel free. Oh my, I mean, like seriously, the world is our oyster. We have so many resources with
Mhm.
the internet, so many. So it's coming, like it or not, it's coming. Whew,
Yep.
needed to hear myself.
Yeah, fired up. I like it. That was a perfect ending.
Yeah. Whew, it ended on a good note after
Yeah,
all.
see? There you go. And you know what? It doesn't always have to, and that's okay too.
Yeah, but it helps if it does.
Sierra. Well, we thank you guys so much for coming back every week. We just love doing this. Like I know for me personally, I love having good conversations. I love if any bit of this helps anybody. Even if it just gives you something to listen to because you don't feel like sitting with your own thoughts at the moment. Because I know I have that all the time, and that's okay to do. So you can listen to this and then you get back to yourself and take the next step.
Yes. Do you want to tell them to
Yeah.
rate?
And if there's, well, first of all, if there's anything, story that you've been through, thing that you're going through right now, thing somebody else is going through, or topic you want to hear about, or just anything that you want to share with us, good, bad, ugly, send it in to youaresonot alone@gmail.com. We would love to gear this more towards our listeners and what they want to hear and what they're going through as well. You can stay anonymous. We would never want to share anything that anyone doesn't want shared about them. And you can rate, review, and subscribe wherever you are listening to this or watching on YouTube. Hey, you guys. Because the more you do that, the more the podcast grows and the more people we can help.
Until next week, whatever little dream that you have deep inside of you, I hope that you go after it with gusto because, like it or not, like it or not, that baby is coming. And if you feel like you just don't know how to do it because it is petrifying, terrifying, the inside of your body is just shaking with fear about it, I got to tell you, you are so not alone. You can do it.
Bye. Um,